iPad's full apparently. So you have to bear with me with this phone, it's a slight angle. So this screws are loose on the top. This pre-filter or whatever it is off. I think that should come off now, but it's, oh yeah, wow, another pre-filter. You probably know. It could be flooded. CJ8 plug, it's not even the right plug if you ask me. BPMR7A or CJ6Y should be the plug that belongs in it, not a CJ8. That's a Victor lawnmower plug, in my opinion. Might be a spark issue. This coil back on, and or whatever you want to call it. I call it a coil or a spring. So I've got a couple of bumrags saws. 52, it's unbranded, it's orange and white, it's pretty much the same as this, but 52cc. You know, the eBay job, but I didn't get it from eBay, I got it from the local pawn shop, $47. I ported it, it's the first one I did. So I don't know if coils will be the same. This is a much bigger unit. So let's assume this is the plug that come with it. That's how little use it's had. So parts, sparking. Parts are probably not interchangeable. What's in here? Oh, reach. $10. So parts probably aren't interchangeable. Coils and stuff. Muffler. No. It's got compression, so it's fuel. Top cover coming off. Check out the carby. I see the breathers here. Parts, yeah. I've got a 52 and a 62 both. Well, the 62 is an Arkansas, it's got the Arkansas Tool Company written all over it. It's a bum rag. Ported, polished. Actually, the first one I polished, didn't realise you needed the roughness on the intake for the atomization. Second one I left the marks from the burr bit, 325 chain, so it's slow. Well, I think it's slow. 20-inch bar. It's actually on my partner right there. Just thinking, this is kick ass as a saw. It's got a bung in the oil cap hose. It's got an oil tank on it, so it can be changed. It's 72cc, port and polish. So I see two hoses here. And it's a Chinese this. Yeah, it doesn't want to put that cap back on there. I don't know why or how that come off, but what have we got? Nothing. Okay, so where does that? Okay, goes to the tank. So I'm going to need to pry it off. And I didn't want that to happen. Pry that off. Put that over there. Now I'll pick all these screws back up. You can't miss them, they're the machine type with the slot and the T25 heads. The screws that don't fit nothing else, pretty much. 4, 5, 6, very cleaner. And it's probably not going to stay where I want it to sit, because I've still got all this junk for the 620 all over the table. Okay, so it's got, that to me is an impulse. It goes to this hose that sits here in the breather, in the air box, inside the air filter. So that's weird. Shouldn't it be plugged into the cylinder? Before I do anything now, excuse me, I'll check where the screws are. They might just be out. So high is the back one on this one. Well, it's probably supposed to be that on every one, but not always. That wasn't even a full turn out. So now it is. Probably lean. Wow. Half a turn out on the low. So we'll go one out. I've got a feeling that that's all it was. Lean. noise complaint the other day, apparently. Chainsaws. Use of chainsaw in the, whatever they call it. Give it some WD in the cylinder, just cause, a bit down there. I will put the right plug in it and fuel, check it, and measures outside. How's it going? Sorry about the fag. Just went over to the shed, okay? So the plug is a BPMR 7A, but the packet's labelled 6A. It's, I think, $1.50 or $1 difference from the 6A to the 7A. So it's equivalent to RCJ 8Y. You can tell the difference. The 6A is the same as the CJ8 with the, you know how it's flat there and the electrode, or whatever you want to call it's inside. 7A's outside. Anyway, I'll whack it in or give it a pull. Alrighty then. Doesn't do nothing with fuel when you prime it. Thinking the little plug's wet, it's got WD all over it. Could be fried. That was way too lean where the screws were set for a Chinese saw anyway. But it means I've got to take the blade and everything off just to take the muffler off. Yeah. I'm thinking the screen and the carby might be blocked because all I can smell on the plug's the WD I sprayed in there. No fuel yet. No, that's just straight WD. I did put one pump of fuel in there with me little, you know, my little red oil bottle with the throttle open. Nothing. Not even a cough. All the AV mounts are stuffed. This one's broken, and I'm guessing it's broken. It looks like the, you know, the top rear handle flywheel side of the 066. Spitting image. That one's good. The one under the oil tank where the fuel cap normally goes, it's got a bung in it. It's not even there, so the cylinder from the carby side. I think that's the smart idea. I thinks. These are Allen heads, same size as that. The one I've been using for the red top A41 and the A32 cylinder screws, same size. I think these are straight into the cylinder. Yeah, they are. The whole intake manifold and everything's coming off. Wow. I don't even know what these are worth. I think they're about $350, $400 at a guess. Buy a steel or a husky. You won't have these problems. Nah, he's a good bloke. Older. Disconnect the fuel hose while I'm doing this so I can get it all the way off, and I'll check inside as well. I mean, it didn't even suck up fuel, so she must be rooted. And the spark's not that strong either. It's like the 620. Real faint, unless it was jumping to the head, so, or the cylinder, you know what I mean. So let's have a look-see. I can't see the exhaust side, but it looks very clean in there. So, must be carbon problem. So the carby does run an impulse. That's a weird intake manifold. Look at it. I'll put that there, away from dirt. The gasket. There's none on this side. Typical. So it's screws all the way, bolts you'd call these, because they're not really a screw, are they? They're a bolt. Choke rod off, the intake, velocity stack, take that off there, gasket's loose and off. That gasket is exactly like O32. No, mine doesn't have one. So it's a Walbro rip-off, possibly Tillotson. Walbro, I'd say, because they got that there. So take that off and we'll have a look at the screen, if it's got one. That's just the cap. So it's a Walbro rip-off, maybe. clean as a whistle. Just one little piece of stuff. Yeah, I don't get it. Although that piece is see-through. Could be the carver kit. They look like they're setting up those little tabs. Put one that tabs to there, and there. There's one little piece of stuff. There, got it. Unless it's just a jet problem. I can see scratches in the throttle, in the intake part of it. Whatever that's called. Don't really know at this present time. Yeah, they're not even tight. Probably leaking. Comes to what I could get. Oh, that just went over the workbench. Magnetic screwdriver saves the day. If it comes to it and it needs a kit, I can take the diaphragm and the gaskets to Sean and we'll go through them. You might even have a section for the actually this saw in his catalogue. Judging by this has never had fuel in the pump in this side. Looks brand new still. Wow. Oh, hang on. It should be diaphragm, then gasket, not gasket, then diaphragm. Correct? I don't know. So this side goes back on. Crap. That way? That way? Yes. I think. Doesn't look right. Right here. It's got to be. Nope. Stuff this up. That way. That way? Yes. Okay. Just testing the needle and seat. Make sure that's on tight. doesn't work when this is on. We'll fill it up. Because I reckon it's never had anything in there at all, ever. And that come out that way, didn't it? Yep, like that. It doesn't sound like it'll be a very loud unit. Heck, even the cylinder screws might be loose. It is a bum rag, so I'm able to check them too while I'm here. Video's getting long again. I didn't check it beforehand before I turned the switch on, so it's a on-camera diagnosis. Unfortunately, I can't diagnose without inspecting. I checked spark. It's got to be a fuel issue. It's got compression. Cylinder, well, this side of the piston looks smick. Take the high and low out. Give them a squirt, carby clean. Or below side for now, but I'll just do both. Could be spark. Normally it'll fire on the WD. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I didn't use carby clean. Put a pump of fuel in it, didn't do anything, so. Fill the hole up. It's possible water could have got in there. The seals could be gone. But to diagnose that, I've got to get it running first. One turn out. Being Chinese, it could be 1.5. I think with my 660 over there, I started 2 turns out when I put it together. Is that about? Well, the high and low screws will be exactly the same. Got a feeling it's a carb issue. But it did go, apparently. Well, it's got brick all over it, so it worked. It's possible the Chinese, they don't have a spark arrestor screen. Pretty sure the muffler's hollow. with the 3 little slits in it, so one turn out, one turn out. Put that back on. Intake, manifold. Oh yeah, so I've got to go back on together, doesn't it? Choke rod, velocity stack, but it's not. We'll just call it a stack. Work out where it mated the carby originally. It's got the little cutout there where the the throttle butterfly. It's a little mark and then there. Intake, boot, that way. Impulse though, the line, and that way. So let's work out what size it's a T27, T30 or whatever. I'll just cylinders on good enough. So I wonder where these were routed. There? No, there. Okay. Kill switch wires are in the proper spot now. So throttle linkage back on like that. Screws fuel hose back on. Clean out of the way. I'll just use the throttle to one of those ones. And kill switch wires back down in the little slot. Sorry, phone. So I'm just doing the intake back up. These weren't very tight, can't remember. There is concrete dust on the coil itself. Maybe the contacts are dirty. That might give a bit better spark if I clean that, but it sparks. Don't know. Try a bit of carby clean. I might actually try and start it in here. Actually, might not annoy the neighbour. He might think it's next door. Them ones, they got saws too. He's got that K 90, whatever they are. It's a husky one. It got straight filled the second tank, so he wants me to rebuild it. Now at least I kind of know what I'm getting into. I mean, it's the top end. It's take the top cover off, carby, muffler, cylinder, done. I'll leave that little hose off. Try a bit of carby clean, see if it pops in here on camera. On, choke, kill switch is on. Now we're getting somewhere. Fired on carby clean. Put some fuel down the throat. I don't think it's sucking fuel up. To be honest. Let's have a look at the fuel filter. Might need a new fuel hose. Just a thought. Oh wow, that was awesome. A little X thing fell off. Spring, whatever you want to call it. Fell off and went right to the bottom of the tank. This filter it looks like one of those pumice. You know, the stones. It doesn't want to be got out, but those is alright. I'll fish that thing out with my hook loader. another half. Try that. This thing's heavy. Not really heavy, it's just my arm stuff. I've primed it 3 times, 4 times now. See if it's sucking fuel up to the, it's sucking fuel up to the carby. Maybe the high and lows are in the wrong way. Seen that happen. So half a turnout on the high as well. It's weird, this kind of an impulse that goes to in the middle of the air filter with the breather. Anyhow, one more try and that's it for me. Trying to. One more. So, honest opinion, carby kit. Or there's something's not right in it. So this little post should be facing that way, I reckon, because that's the, it comes out here. Although that way is, yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe we actually starving for fuel, I think. Another half turn on the high. Another half turn on the low. Try again. Throttle locks on. Choke. Excuse me. Wants to go. Maybe. Could be that dry too, I don't know. If you can cross-reference this carby, I'll just get another one. Okay, so I'm seeing some wetness around the intake. Gasket on the cylinder. That's probably why, but it's plastic and you don't want to wreck it. I'm just going to go ape shit on the meniscus screws and find out. Yeah, it's definitely a carb problem. So I'll let him know. That's it for this saw. Thanks for watching. I'll unbox that after I see Uru. How's it going? Morning everyone. Working on Rob's bum rag. I just went to Sean's. He gave me a whole heap of carbs. These are out of the Pharmatech 372s. You had one set up. Apparently it's a straight fit to a 034, 036. Sorry, MS 340, 360 for the compensator. Compensator plate. Same kit for this. It's not a 372, it's a bum rag. What is it? 72. Yeah. 372 carb might fit. It'll only cough and fart with the prime and the straight down the throttle, the throat, whatever you want to call it. Spark's not very bright. Coil gap might be a little bit too wide. Yeah, still not getting fuel, so I took the carb off before I went to see Sean. The carby was full of fuel. No matter what I do with the mixture screws, it doesn't do anything. I've blown it out, I've soaked it in carb clean. It's got me puzzled. It could even be something to do with inside the drive. So I might take it off, if it's not too much of a hassle. Because it's just too heavy to keep pulling up on the bench. That's just it. For the 620, according to his catalogue, it said M10 1 mil. Doesn't fit. So it must be 1 mil, but God damn it. Thank Christ for that. It's just belt driven. Sprocket bearing's already stuffed, I can see that. Watch this. Could be loose. Left hand thread. Sorry, I'm not talking much today. Head's all over the place. I'm glad I've got those carbies. We might see if one will fit on the O32. I don't think it's much of a difference of the size. Just thinking of more air, more fuel. So now that's off, I might have a look at the muffler port. I mean, just goes puff, puff, and that's it. Cool. Doesn't matter how many squirts of fuel I put down the throat. In my little, I'll put 3, 4, 5, just put, and that's it. So I might as well have a look at the exhaust port. And then I'll have a look at the flywheel gap, if this works out, if this ain't bad. I mean, I could probably, if he wants me to fix it, if the top end's fried, it's a possibility. Also feels like the bearings are gone. You know when you get that feeling? You pull it over and it doesn't keep, it just pip it and then just cuts it. Like you can see the flywheel just stops, doesn't keep spinning, if that makes sense. It's like a and then you can see when it stops, the flywheel sort of moves. You can see it in there. Pulling it over without all the covers and that on it. Moment of truth. Clean as a whistle. Brand spanking new. Got me buggered. Sparks like real strong. I hope you say no. No, it's direct. Sweet. I was thinking it was one of those easy starts. I like the little skateboard wheels it's got on it. So I rang the local tool shop. It's called Total Tools here. For a left-hand tap for the Pioneer to get a couple of decent nuts made up for the starter cup. Still waiting for them to ring me back. They're gonna order it in if they can get it in. If not, you can get them on eBay over in America. $25 for the tap and the die. I know it's only for one saw, but well, I do have two bottom ends. Actually, I've got two engines. I can build that one out that's over in the shed if I can get the clutch off. And waiting to hear back from them. If I switch the camera off, all of a sudden they're ringing me. Okay, straight away I see tape around the connection. Kill wire. Just looks just like a 372 inside, kind of. So I'll take it's kind of rusted on. The kill wire. Pop this off. Heaps of concrete dust around the flywheel. And the nut, it's got a massive washer, spring washer. The gap. It's probably a touch big. Are you seeing that? There's the coil. It's got another thing hanging off it. Never seen it before. Don't know what that is. Bit of dirt. So my guess is 30 terminals. That one's loose, but it's held in with that ball, locks into place. So maybe I'll take this off and have a look at this. Wasn't tight, really. Starter screw holes, bottom left hand, the holes on an angle. No comment. I've got, I think I mentioned it yesterday or the day before, I've got 2 Chinese saws, power saws, not, well this is a power saw, but chain saw. Got a white and orange one, like this, white handles, orange top cover. Bought from the pawn shop, $47. No issue, only it's missing the throttle lock. Every time I go to start it, it starts. I've cut probably a ute load with it. And it started to carry on. It was fouling out the plug, I think. Changed the plug, used it again. I ran it till the chain went sharp and then blunt. Then I thought I ported it. And I ran it for a little bit, just idle, a couple of braps here and there. Now it's back in the shed. Then I did the Arkansas, which is 62cc, same rubbish as this, but it's green and black. The bars on the Pioneer there, partner there, 20-inch, brand new chain. It's been sharpened once. 325 pitch. They're slow cutting. Ported it, and then I took it out and ran it. Okay. Wow, they're the smallest contacts I've ever seen. But they're clean. I guess I'll just re-gap it. Pretty sure that one went there. Yeah. So them two were the trial runs for porting, and then I did my 024. It's under the bench here, the 372. That's all I've done so far. Don't want to get too carried away. So I reckon a piece of this gasket paper will be a good gap. Loosen it back off. One thousandths, isn't that what they've got to be? Business card. I wasn't really going to film doing all this, but thought, why not just turn it on, and it just makes a big backlog of footage I've got to edit and upload. It's not really much of an issue, not on the phone anyway. My iPad's full. That's about where it was when it started, unless it's a plug deal like before. Let's have a look. Ah, that's why. So there's taper in that because it's too stretched, maybe. And that's loose. To be honest, if this is as old as I was told it is, it's been played with a bit before that bit was stretched and whatnot. Put this little doohickey back on. Could be a plug issue. It's currently sparking like the 620 with the old, with this big plug in it, really faint. This is kind of a copy of the 372. It's not exact like the Pharmatex. It's probably a third of the price too. I would run one of those new carvies that I got off Sean, but there's no impulse. It's run through the block, the intake manifold. That's the only downside. Unless the 372 top end will fit straight on, but I doubt that'd happen. I doubt it'd be that easy. So, run the wires back through there. Up. Tell you what, I'll just get this on first. On and lined up, and then I'll worry about running the wires. like so. See that? Oh, cool. It's touching something. I feel it locking. It's not touching the this block. I don't get why that moves. Lift it up out of the way. Start it back down. These are the screws here, I think. Yep. That many screws and stuff on the bench. None of the holes are straight. I think because they must be lined up so the starter goes down properly. This one's straight, but because of the angles and shit of the starter. So the BPM R7A is not in this, it's in the 620. At the moment. So I might go grab a new 6A, give that a try. I just like the spark being further in the head. Then these CJ8s, to me they're a Victor plug. They should be on a, and that keeps coming loose. So maybe that plug's stuffed. I'll go get a new 6A and we'll be back. Thanks. There's it going. So I've got a new 6A. It's a BMR 6A. There's no P. It's exactly the same as the, it's probably the same as the CJ8 that I just took out of it. Wherever I put it. Probably 2 millimeters shorter in that area. That's it. I've run out of plugs. I could probably get CJ8Y. It's got the longer electrode thingy. Let's have a look again. I don't know if I close the door. coil has had it. There's no spark at all now. Beats me. I kind of wired it up wrong because I put it back together exactly how it come off. Nothing. I know. No idea. I don't get why it's got that. Block off the plug wire there. Is it because it's a demo saw? Maybe. I thought that was the coil itself, it's not. Problem is, I think Rob's going to sell this one though. It's missing the screw out of the bottom handle. I think he's going to sell it because he bought the second one. Might have to go charge up the rattle gun. I bet that's not going to be a 17 either. That'll work. Sparking very faint. Man, this is annoying. So that was not the plug that was in this. I don't know where it come from. I'll just try different plugs. That one sparks heaps better. I think I'm undoing this flywheel nut. No. Put the tape over that further. Actually, the plug I want to run, I could just get one out of it. Let's have a look in this box. There should be a CJ. No. Just get the plug out of the 660. No, that's too much of work. You've got to take the whole air filter and everything off it. We'll have a look at this brand new plug once more. NGK, it should be good, but unless it's not earthing properly. very faint. NGK just doesn't, it wants to run a champion. I'll take one out of the MS. I've got a parts MS 170. Down there, I'll get it out of that. It's an 023 with a 250 starter. And the top handle from Sean, the rear handle, Pharmatech. This little jig is ready to go, it just needs the handle with the trigger and the operator presence, pull cord, muffler, washer and circlip, E-clip, she's ready to go. That's a BPMR 4A. Let's have a look at it. Chinese MS 180 engine. Pharmatech, pulse former, whatever you want to call them. Pharmatech to me. Engines are good. This one's got OEM bearings and seals in it. I got bored one night and built in my shed in the middle of winter time. This one's all genuine, bar this handle assembly. Let's check this 4A. Never heard of them before till now. I didn't even realise. Can you see? Yep. So it sparks, gets stronger when it's revving. I think these, I'll just check the cylinder bolts just because in case it's leaking. I mean, this whole unit's not even that old. I shouldn't be doing any of this work to it. Doesn't make sense. So this CJ8 had the most spark. I'll just close the gap a touch. For shits and giggles, we'll have a look at it again. So I don't want to put it together and it doesn't do anything. This is flat. I think this one and the 4A's even. Put the 4A in it. I'll give it a try. Hopefully it tightens up and stays tight. About there. The starter back on. Give it another kick in the guts. Oh, I can't, I've got to put the muffler back on. Getting ahead of myself again. So the 620 I can't do anything else on. have to. I tried the nut on my, the spare engine, spare bottom end. Didn't want to go on, but the threads could be stuffed on it from people hitting it, whoever used to own it, and the previous, you don't know. Never had a flywheel on it when I got it. There was a oil or fuel all over the bench this morning when I took it off the bench to put this up here. I don't know if it's leaking or... Ooh, that's not a good sign. Whack the muffler back on. I like these, the design of these Chinese heads, cylinders. This muffler, I've got the 92 cc variation. This is a 72. The 92's probably that much wider, and it's got 5 ports. That's welded to one of my 07s until I make up a spacer plate to put the 070 muffler on it. Because there's not many of the alloy type mufflers around, original ones for the 07. I've got 2 07s, one has the alloy muffler, one had the steel one. Where the steel one was, this one's welded to. Because when I got it was just the pipe, everything else had rusted off. And it was way too noisy to run with just a pipe straight out of the head, out of the port. Tell you what, if Rob doesn't want this back, I'd keep it. Because it's got the pulley on the sprocket. Well, it's not really a sprocket, it's your drive cup with the V-belt. If I can get it running and he doesn't want it back, or he sells it for not much, I'd pick it up. Because if you're out in the bush and your battery goes flat, you can hook up your alternator belt to directly to it. AV mount screw is loose at the back, I just noticed. No, it looks loose, but must be a case of the wrong screws in there. Can definitely be converted back to a chainsaw. It's got the hole for the oil pump. Let's give crack. Just give it a prime. It should have fuel to the carby, but I just can't work out why it won't go into the cylinder. Never seen characteristics like that before. It's got me puzzled. Only thing I can think of is the impulse. The hole for the impulse is non-existent or blocked or half drilled. It's run, obviously. Broken ring. I don't know. And again, if I had a leak, a pressure vacuum tester, I would be able to pinpoint what it is. Doesn't smell like fuel. Where'd that? I think I might just try that CJA in it. We'll check spark again. This plug sparks better. Excuse me, I'm honestly running out of ideas here. Top end could be. If my 62cc top end fits in here, it's ported. It'd run it, I reckon. It's only 10cc's difference. The diaphragm, that's brand new, soft. Low screws out 1.5. I mean, the carby's back to front. can't use it, so maybe the carby off one of the saws it'll fit. Because they run impulse through the intake as well. Might be the same. If it's a carby problem, then I think that's what I'll do. Got fuel in there, it's gone. Plug's not even wet. No idea. I do have an idea. There's all the fuel. Seal. Should have checked that earlier. So there's no bearing, there's a bush on this side. So that's the problem. I'm guessing, as all the oil I've put in there, all the priming I've done, it's come straight out there. And I don't want the rope to go through the exhaust port. Chop it off. As for removal, I've got to do it this way. I don't have a tool yet. Well, I do, but it's not as big as this. And I can't turn it, that's on its side because it will leak fuel everywhere. Go there. Didn't damage nothing. See how wet that is? Probably can't. There you go. Should have checked this earlier. The seal's popped out. and there's a worm drive already installed. I've got to try and get that off. Hopefully a screwdriver will get it out. Doesn't look like it. Not yet. So there's a worm gear. I'll have to take a photo of this, send it to Rob. It might be savable. Nah, it's stuffed. Here you go. Explains why it's running. Oh, won't even start. Look at that. Yeah. So this, you can definitely turn it into a saw. All the gears there. Ring Rob now. I've got to measure. I'll measure the outside. The 35. Five. 15. The springs. For the seal still sitting there. 25 by 5 by 15. 6. 16. 16. Give the bearing shop a ring, take a photo of it for Rob. And that's it for me. Thank you. Have a good day. Alright. How's it going? Old coil reel looks pretty sick. Bit of a fluke, it's still orange. Good coffee table. Was a freebie. Just an update on the Rob's bumrag. I don't think I showed you the worm drive up close. Must just act as a spacer. There's clearly 3 screw holes for an oil pump in there. You can see where the hose goes into the tank and where the hose goes from the pump out to the bar, if there was a bar on it. Anyway, new seals were ordered. It will be here Monday afternoon, but I go away Monday morning for work again. So that's the story on the bumrag. It wasn't a carby issue after all. I should have checked that seal first up, knowing the age of the unit. I didn't even think the seals would be gone. So that's the story with this. I'm going to pack all the bits into a box, clean my bench off. Excuse me, remainder of the 620 parts into a box as well. find out what else I'm going to do. Probably turn my farm boss back into a farm boss. I'm really interested to see if that Pioneer 1200A, if the XL12 crankcase and cylinder fit in that chassis. That'll be a half decent project. I mean, I can't cut with it because the chain's well and truly past the marker on top of the chain. There's some of them only have teeth that big. So yeah, switch it back on when I'm on my next project, or I think of something else. Definitely got to clean this bench off though. Have a good one, everyone. Guru. How's it going? I'm back. Just a update on the 041 throttle linkages. 2mm wire. This is an 041 Farm Boss throttle linkage. A couple of days ago I did the start 'em up video with that one there. I had to use my finger, put my finger in the side, give it a rev. An old bloke commented, he said back in the day he used to use bicycle spoke wire. So I'm going to try that. I've got 5 bikes here, the kids don't ride, so I'll give that a crack and we'll see how we go with that. So, Rob's bumrag, got the seal. It come in on Monday, it's now Thursday. I've been away since Thursday night. Tuesday night I got home at 9 PM. Then I had to get up again at 4 AM to go to work yesterday. And now I'm on night shift tonight. So we'll stick this seal in. And then I'll have a crack start. I'll put all this back together loosely. That spacer. Okay. Worm drive back out, even though it doesn't need it. It must act as a spacer. So I can see some crap around the surface. Seal I got is, this one's a 7 I think. Yeah, 7mm. Seal I needed was a 4mm. It's actually the exact same but a bigger, thicker. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, exactly the same. Same brand, same everything. Just this one's 2mm bigger. Should fit. I did measure that. So with this, because it's a concrete pump, inside just a little bit. Let's check the fit first. I can actually put it in by hand. It's halfway in already, just by pushing it by hand. It's a bit challenging though. This is the right size, by the way. Can't really see what I'm doing, but that's a shame. Doesn't fit. Yes, it does. We're in. We won't go any further than that. It's in and it's sealing. I like it. Yeah, nice. Worm drive. Clutch plate, washer, clutch, it's windy today, so the door's making some, it's going open and shut all the time. How's everyone doing? I'm doing good, surprisingly. Okay, smell fuel because it's leaking out of something. Ah, the breather. Plug. Which one am I going to use in this? The one that come out, eh? Because the spark reason. For memory. Sorry, it's been like a week. That's the one that was in it. It's not the one I want to put back in it, but doing a cheap repair. Seal was $10.34, including GST. They charged me GST this time, otherwise it was $9.40. Nice and cheap. I don't know whether to pull the flywheel off and check that side. We'll just see how it runs. And if it runs. Should. Let's give it a crack. So now we've got a tuning issue. fatten out the low. I reckon I'll up the idle. It's actually flat out, I think. Like that. Close enough. I've got to put the air box and everything back on, see if this compensator changes the tune. Put the wheel back on, make sure it's got enough power to spin it. I'm happy with that though. It's a touch on the rich side, but it is a saw, so concrete saw. Touch on the rich side, but I'd rather be rich than lean. So success. Rob will be happy. Won't be a super expensive repair. You might give me $50 maybe, but it only cost me $10.43. Job kit was free, got it off Sean. So yeah, whack it all back together, and I don't know if the spark plug will make a difference. I don't have a spare. Brand new. I don't have any new ones on me. I've put them all in all the other, every single saw I got. The only ones that aren't running the BP, the BP MR6A. The Super 2, it's got tapered plug and the Shindawa weed whacker, strimmer, whatever you want to call them, whippersnippers here. Everything else is running the BP MR6A. I don't run the 7, just because I like the spark a little further in the combustion chamber. So I'm going to whack all this back together off camera, and we might give it a test run with the cutter blade and everything on it, make sure it's revving up nicely. As for the bearings in the cup, a touch noisy, but you don't hear it when the, can you hear that? I'd say it's good, but there's something touching in there. I might even give it a squirt of WD inside. And it just got noisier. Should be right. So yeah, whack it all back together, and then I'll do a start and possible retune once everything's back together. Still on this, just noticed so it was missing one screw. I had one exactly the same on the bench here, but originally it was missing that one. 041, you know, trappy saw. How we had all these black machine screws with the Allen head in them. Direct fit to the bumrag. So thought I'd bring this along the rest of the way. So that hose there, that's the one off the carby. That's your fuel tank breather. Air cleaner's clean, there's no dust in it. It doesn't look clean, but pre-filter's pretty good. I think, yeah, this goes down first. Make sure the spark plug boots on properly. There's no rubber bit around the seal of that for some reason. Probably get away with some RTV just around the seal. I can't get over, there's nothing there, but anyway. So these screws should be T25s. It's stuffed. Barely any teeth left on it down the bottom, but she works. You can use a flat blade on here if it starts jumping around and stuff, but you don't want to go too tight because you'll start stripping stuff, plastic. So, and you know what bum rag plastic's like. Not that I'm knocking the company. I've got a bum rag hedge trimmer. I did have a saw, but the chain brake mechanism broke, so I threw that in the bin, the whole saw, after I ripped off with one of the parts. I think it was carby. Shouldn't have. I've got the Giants 62 or 72 cc pruner hedge trimmer. It extends like, I think it's 5 or 6 meters. It's heavy. It's basically a bum rag, but it's just a different sticker. Giants, it's all the same stuff. All Chinese. Excuse me. Okay, restart. Just with the covers on, we'll see what it's like. So it turns richer. A lot. Put them. We'll do it on camera, I don't care. So the tricky part's going to be getting the belt on. Well, not really, because it's already on. That's too easy, in my opinion. There's no adjuster that I know of on the belt, so it's going to be a pry-in mount. The belt's already on, so it's just pretty much just a lift into place. It's already in place. I think that belt's too stretched, in my opinion, and the holes for it, unless there's locators. there should be sleeves over those studs, I reckon. So what I'm going to do is put the back nut on. Use this to center it. That's how I had to get it off. They had to be center. Okay, so it's not tight yet. I'll stick pry it forwards. Done. I think. Yep. One more go. She's carrying on.